All right. Well, good Saturday morning. It is the morning after another Bruins victory. Never get tired of saying that. This one was it was a game that it started with a real funny, uh, on ice standoff between Brad Marchand and Mika Zibanejad. We'll touch on that in a moment. And it ended with a real stout defensive effort by the Bruins, especially on the PK. It was a couple of things I think that were instrumental in this game. The penalty kill being one of them. Again, good morning. This is Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. All right, let's get after it. I've seen guys stay on the ice a long time after, shooting the puck down to each other's end, this and that and everything. But I haven't seen a 7-minute standoff before, like we saw between Marchand and Zibanejad. Marchand losing the ever so important game of rock, paper, scissors. I do like the way they negotiated that from, say, all right, let's just do, they hand signaled each other and did it. Have you ever seen that kind of stalemate before? Standoff, I should say.
Not to that extent. We've seen a few of them, especially when the benches are right beside each other and they're going off right beside. They can actually talk to each other. Those are always interesting. But to see the Zamboni make ice, go on the come off, finish completely. Zibanejad's taping his stick. Marchand's got water out on the ice. And then I thought they were staying the whole intermission. I thought the teams were just going to come out and those two guys would still be sitting there. But cooler heads prevailed, I gotta believe it's still eating at Marchand this morning that he lost that rock paper scissors.
Well, what would eat at me as well was kind of the way that Zibanejad shoot him off the ice too. He just kind of did. Hey, you okay? Go
Yeah,
go go! Gave him
yeah,
the
yeah. All
fingers, the
right.
finger in the
See you,
wave.
buddy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I thought that was a
yeah.
very
Little pigeon.
kind of very parental style of thing, right there. Like, shoot, get off.
Yes, it was.
Guys
Yeah.
are slightly superstitious. They call it routine. I've seen other players. The one that comes to mind, I believe, is Tyler Sagan. He likes to stay out until the end, but there's always that one
Yes.
guy.
Yeah, he went last year in the bubble. He went off, and then he came running back off
Right.
and like tricked the guy, and then skated. So yes, guys, this has been happening a while. This one was the longest
I
that
don't want
we've
to go on a
seen.
tangent here, but I'll ask most superstitious guy you ever played with. Who was that? Can you think of,
Oh,
or can you think of one guy who
yeah.
had
I
the
mean,
same thing?
Yeah, Jeff Hackett was one guy you didn't go anywhere near game day, pregame. He had so many, he was very regimented, didn't talk to anyone, all business. He was, and he was an older guy when I was young. He was kind of
I will
scary.
say though that goalies are more apt, I think, to have that. Eddie Belfour was
Eddie was, yeah,
crazy in
crazy.
his stuff. All right, to the game. So the Bruins come out after a less than stellar defensive effort, less than a stellar game on Wednesday. They find a way to win. We talk about that, etc. I think they came out with a much more concerted effort on Friday. However, again, I didn't feel that there was as much energy from the team in the first period. It wasn't bad. They weren't chasing the game. They were outchanced in the first period. And we're going to touch on Jaro in just one moment. But I just felt was this a result we think of the guys? I hate to use the hotel excuse, being on the road type of thing, but I guess it just kind of felt like that. They were just kind of getting out there, and maybe they were waiting to see what kind of, this might be dangerous, but waiting to see what kind of response they got from the Rangers, who were coming into the game without Artemi Panarin.
Yeah, all of the above. And I also, to add to that defensive mindset, it looked like they decided they were going to play a
Mm-hmm.
defensive game and not try and make something out of nothing. If they didn't have a play, they got it in deep. If they didn't have a play, they went D to D and off the wall. And I think that was another difference that they made Wednesday. So maybe a little lack of energy, being on the road 3 days, a concerted effort to be defensive led to kind of a sleepy first period where Jaro had to
Mm-hmm.
make a few saves. Rangers pushed as much as they have. They didn't, without Panarin out, they don't have a lot of offense. They have a couple younger guys that are supposed to grow into that, but at this point they're not there yet. So I think it was a bit of above all
Mm-hmm.
of the above, I should say, in that
Or
first
the
period.
coffee will kick in soon. You'll get
Yeah, I
you'll get
know
it
it's
going,
still early, late
and I
night.
know I need mine as well. So first period, Halak faces uh, three or four excellent opportunities. Good, really, really good chances. The one who was it? It was Lafreniere who had that one that he batted
Yeah,
out of. Right. The
batted out of
point
the
that you
air.
made during the telecast last night, there's no point of release on that. There's no shot there per se. That's a react. First of all, hell of a hand-eye coordination by the number one pick from last year's draft. Second of all, that's just a feel thing, right? From Jaro, he's powering out. He doesn't stay back, which is key, and he gets the right pad out. By no means lucky, but that's just a reactionary save. That's just a reflex play, isn't it?
That's right. 99 out of 100, you're reading the shot. Guys, are picking up cues from the shooter. That one, it's just he's whacking out of the air. Fortunately, they can't hit that 100 miles an
Right. It was
hour,
good contact.
but he's in
Yeah.
close enough. He got a lot of wood on it. He's in close, and yes, you're just going off of that. As soon as that puck gets hit, then you're going. You have to react to that. You can't pick anything
Yeah.
up early.
Anything else stand out to you about Jaro in that first period? That I mean, we showed in the post game how well he continues to handle the puck. I mean, I don't want to say that's old news, but it is. I mean, we've had him now here for a couple of years.
Yeah.
But anything else that from a goalie perspective that you liked?
No, I mean the last game in Washington, he didn't really settle into the game. They ended up winning. He played, they came from behind 3-0, but he wasn't, gave up 2 goals in the first period. Not okay, fine goals, but didn't really settle in. Didn't really play great. And I thought, for him not playing in a couple weeks to get in there, that same concerted effort. All right, I'm going to get through this first period, no goals against. And then he was able to kind of cruise from there. So it seemed as though as a pro, he recognized his first period last game wasn't great, needed a good one tonight. There was going to be a push. Our team's playing defensive tonight. I can't give anything up in the first. So it felt to me like he was locked in a little earlier than he was against the Capitals.
Yeah, and this is a goaltender that played an awful lot against the Rangers, especially during his time spent as the New York Islanders guy. And he was a starter for them for a couple of years. And he's very comfortable playing the Rangers.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
And he was in Washington too. He's played this loop more than he's played any other loop in the NHL, playing through these guys, through these teams, through these buildings. So he must have good sight lines, and most of them must feel very comfortable in this division.
I know he talked about liking that rivalry a lot when he was with the Islanders. I mean, that was a point of pride, and it was important to him. So, look, it was. I don't think it was an earth-shattering move starting him here. You could have started him tonight too on the island, but it's much more preferred to give Tuukka that extra day off and play him. So smart move, good effort, or good decision by the coaches. But again, I think it was pretty obvious. All right, let's move past the first period. Bruins get outshot, they get outchanced, but no score. Great. So you go in that locker room, you regroup. I know that there was an interview in our post game. I think it was Frederic that hit on. I don't remember who it was that said we talked about, or no, it was Ritchie. We can't play like that again after the first period. The Bruins they weren't heels, but they weren't on the toes. They were just kind of flat. They, and while it was a little more physical in the first period, it really wasn't nasty or anything. Going into the second period, the Bruins started to be more engaged. They started to break the puck out a bit better. They continued to kill their penalties. And then they get a goal from Nick Ritchie, his first 5-on-5 goal, which I think is important in that, I'm sure there are people out there like, well, Ritchie's been better, no doubt, but he's only scored on the power play. This one, while it wasn't a great goal by Shesterkin, right? Coming off the post just a little bit, it was, you want to talk about good hand-eye coordination. It was the second attempt by Ritchie that swats this one in. And I think it was an important goal for him. I do, because it's a 5-on-5 skating goal. He's not stationary in front of the net on the power play.
Skating goal. That's exactly it. It's not, he's not getting the one where, anyone could score that goal, and Marchand puts it on my tape like that.
Right.
He did a great job changing speed. You noticed that, changing speed on the wing to be able to get wide. He slowed up a little, then he had another gear, and he got around that defenseman, took a good angle. And Shesterkin admitted after the game, I got to work on not peeling off the post. He did a good job sealing on the first one, and just came off on the rebound. And just 2 inches is more than enough for these guys to bang it back in. Went off his pad and in. And You hate to lose a game giving up only that one, but in the NHL that happens sometimes. And for
Yep.
Nick Ritchie, a great 5-on-5 goal. That's a Nick Ritchie goal.
Right.
That's what we're gonna get. That's how he scores
That's what you
goals.
hope you get, right? That's what you.
Yes, that's right, and
That's what.
that's what the Bruins are getting right now,
Yeah.
and that's such a positive. So for him, Krejci gets another assist. Lauzon has a great breakout. That second period was up until that point was very good for
So
the
much
Bruins,
better.
and then it got better.
Yeah, so much better from the start of that second period. The line on Ritchie on the game: 6 shots, 7 total attempts, 1 takeaway, only credited with 1 hit. A little bit of a sneaky little jab hit on Shesterkin too, right?
Yeah,
Coming through the
yeah.
crease area or outside. Want to ask you one thing about coming off the post like that. Is there fear involved? Is that what I mean? I don't want to say that Shesterkin was afraid. That's not. I don't mean that
Yeah.
because that sounds disrespectful. Meaning, just is it coming off the post? Is that because bodies are coming there, or is it just a feel that the puck might be going to the other side?
It is sometimes it's fear. In this situation, it was more the puck went back to the left side, so it felt like Richie could have wrapped it around because he did get the puck back. And instead of banking it off of him, he could have grabbed it and went behind the net. And it's also a little momentum in that situation. Had Richie cut to the front of the net, then fear sets in a little bit. And you are going to stand in there. You do sit in there, but there is much more of a tendency to pull off of that post. I think of the Tuukka Rask in New Jersey, those
Yeah.
games, that first game where Wood was going to the net 5, 6, 7 times. You do start pulling off a little bit, and the one goal Wood scored was off on the short
Rush.
side,
Yeah.
where Tuukka was coming off just a little bit. So you're not bailing on your teammates, but fear does set in. You're a lame duck there if that guy wants to drive a
You're
shoulder into you.
stationary. They're moving.
Yeah.
You're,
Yeah.
your
And you have a
ass
net
is-
behind you.
Right.
You
Your
have
ass is
poles
grass.
behind you.
Exactly.
You're
I mean,
done.
that's the old
Yeah.
saying. That's such an old
Yeah.
man saying. Your
I
ass is
love
grass.
that. I haven't heard that in a long
is such
I'm
an
going to
old
use
man.
that again. I'm bringing it
Um,
back. Ass is
So,
grass.
all right. So it's you get the goal midway through the second period, and a second later, things get going, and you knew that there was more intensity in the second period to begin with, at least from our perspective, from a Bruins perspective. I will continue to say this: the Rangers made it hard on the Bruins. It was not pretty, but they made it hard. They're not playing a fancy style right now. David Quinn's got them playing what I would call respectful defense right now. And Jacques Martin, the new assistant head coach, along with Greg Brown, they're helping get that mentality. Important. You don't want to get blown out, right, when you're a young team. So the Bruins are having to earn it. They score, they go 1-0. And then there's a big fight between Frederic and Lemieux right off the faceoff. Both participating willingly, no doubt about it. You could tell that Frederic was not happy with how quickly Lemieux, who's a little bit smaller and has scrapped in his career, he's a fourth liner. He's going to have to, right? But Frederic didn't seem happy that Lemieux started the rat-tat-tat right away. I mean, it was almost like gloves into Frederic, right? That little, whoa.
Yeah, yeah.
And then rat, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Should Frederic be upset with that? Should he have, he was pissed off.
He was pissed off. Yeah, he could be pissed off, but you need to protect yourself at all times. And when you're fighting, you're not always going to get Frederic wanted to drop the glove slowly, and he wanted to give her the Olay at center ice, and Lemieux didn't want to do that. Lemieux wanted to get in tight on Frederic. He just saw Frederic fight probably the second toughest guy in the league, third toughest guy in the league in Wilson 10 days ago. Lemieux wants to get in close and get his shots in right away, and you have to respect that as well. And I saw a couple guys talk, on social media last night. Always protect yourself. If you're getting into a fight in the NHL, you always have to be ready. You always have to have yourself protected. And Frederic slipped a little bit on that, and he probably learned a lesson, and probably won't allow that to happen again. So you're not going to get, the way you want it all the time. And Lemieux did a good job in that. He recognized it, and he got his early shots in. First punch usually wins a hockey fight.
Yeah, and Frederic got he got a little stunned, I would say, by that. I mean, who wouldn't, right? It's that.
No, he hung in there afterwards.
But then he gets
wasn't,
up.
It wasn't a bloodbath, but he certainly
Right.
he didn't get locked in. He didn't get an upper hand. He was trying to, you're trying to grab. You're going to eat a few punches if you're not ready in a fight.
It was so quick. It was so quick how it happened.
Yeah.
Went into the penalty box. Some definite words that thankfully we didn't have the Nesson microphone open for, although we all know what he was saying. But the one thing you could read and hear, or you knew, we're going to go again.
Yeah.
The good news is this. They didn't go again in this game. They shouldn't have gone again in this game. Whether it was the coaches, whether it was a veteran player refocusing Frederic and saying, we play him 6 more times. Don't go there right now. Whatever it was. Or maybe it was just Trent Frederic that did it for himself. I'm sure that there was somebody else that, don't worry, you'll get a chance again later. That's the right move in that game. Why? Because then if Frederic becomes the instigator, literally and figuratively, the chaser of the fight, I got a hunch that Lemieux is going to say, he's going to draw him in. He's going to be like, okay, yeah, let's go. And then the extra roughing minor or the roughing penalty would go to Frederic. And, he had to do what he did in that moment. And he had every right to be pissed off in the sense of, I'm going to, it's part of the game. We'll go again. Set it up for down the road, right? I mean, don't chase the game then. Let it come to you.
There's no question that Lemieux would have goated him, or I'm sure he tried to goat him in. If they got on the ice at the same time, I'm sure he said something to him. And there's no question in a 1-goal game at home, Lemieux would have loved to have taken. Then he wins two altercations if he gets Frederic to drop them. So you can predict whether it's next game they play or the 5 games from now that they play. There's going to be a situation where it works for both of them to go again. Lemieux seems like a guy who's willing to do that under his terms, and Frederic, I'm sure, will love to get a piece again.
Be interesting to see if Lemieux just gives him the straight up, okay, let's go again type thing, or if Frederic's going to have to do something, hit a few other people for Lemieux to have to answer. One thing though, if Lemieux doesn't answer and Frederic is running around in a legal way and hitting other people, and then Lemieux doesn't go fight him, his teammates will be pissed off. Be like, take care of it. Finish this.
Yeah, you started this.
Yeah,
That's
you started.
Right.
You helped start it.
You got to deal with this.
Right. I don't think it'll be an issue down the road, but we'll have to wait and see. So now that the heat is up, right? All of a sudden, the crowd is going crazy at MSG. Everybody's into their $18 vodkas and
martinis.
Martinis
there,
right?
Boy,
oh boy, you go there, and I do think a regular vodka, I think it's like 18 or 24 bucks or something like that.
What a city.
Yes, what a city. So everybody's going. The fake crowd noise is pumping. And now it's getting a little more nasty. We're seeing some scrums. We're seeing sticks up a little bit and everything. It's still 1-0. And then, lo and behold, behind the net, 5 minutes later or so, Jeremy Lauzon, who I thought, again, had a hell of a game, is getting into it with Pavel the Beast Buchnevich. Okay? Take a guess how many previous fights Pavel Buchnevich had in his career.
I got him at 0 or maybe 1, maybe
5. That was his 5th fight.
No way.
His 5th. And he's a big boy. He's a big boy. He's not.
He is.
I mean, he's 6'3", 198, 200 pounds. Actually, on paper, he's a little bigger than Lauzon. Lauzon's a little bit heavier by about 5 to 7 pounds, and obviously stylistically very different. But they just got wrapped up behind the net, but both players, this is behind the Bruins, that seemed more than engaged, more than ready. Lauzon was the better fighter. There, our old buddy Walsh, Brendan Walsh, who has known just 1 or 2 fights during his career. I'm paraphrasing here in a social media, I think it was a tweet, talked about really good punching angles from Jeremy Lauzon.
If anyone knows punching angles, it's certainly Walshy.
And here's a guy, actually, Walshy's the kind of guy that I would ask about the rat-tat-tat of Lemieux, because Walshy was always fighting up in weight class, usually, because he isn't that big of a dude. Huge heart, a lion's heart, right? Yeah. But he had to go upwards, like Ty Domi did on a lot of guys. So if there's a guy, like you said, who would understand angles and the importance of it, would be him. So thank you, Walshy, for being involved in the show. But then Lauzon gets the extra 10 because there was something that he didn't stop the fight in the eyes of the officials, whether it was the linesman or the ref. So you mentioned this, I think it was in game or in the green room. Like, you can't, like, that's just something for Lauzon. While he probably didn't mean it, The emotion was there. You can't have him off for 15 minutes of a game. He's become too valuable now.
That's right. In a one-goal game, he essentially missed the last 15 of 25 minutes of the entire game, and it didn't cost them. It didn't affect them. They were able to offset the minutes. They had good depth in minutes on the back end, but going forward, that's another teaching moment for a younger guy. Listen, we'll take your 5 minutes. We'll find a way to piece that 5 minutes together, but we can't have you taking 15 minutes off. It's too hard on our back end. If we take a couple penalties back there, then we're really, really tight, really thin. So good to see him go. I'm sure he enjoyed getting in the mix. The young guys seem to really be enjoying getting in the mix and contributing in a physical way. I'm sure they've heard about no Chara, who's going to step up, and it's going to be a soft team, and I'm sure they've heard all of that, and they want to prove that they can handle themselves, but teaching moments as well for these young guys.
All right. I don't think he meant it. I just think he got wrapped up.
Exactly.
And whether it was,
and he might not even have known that is possible too, right? I didn't really recognize it in any way. It took me till the intermission when you looked at it again, like that can be called. I didn't recognize it. I'm sure Lauzon didn't recognize it either.
Probably not. It's an emotional moment for a player.
Yeah.
As a former ref and linesman, not at the NHL, but in college hockey and junior, you know that you're talking to those guys while they're going through it. You know that you sat in the net and watched hundreds of scraps happen. The refs, right when it's done, the linesmen are constantly talking, especially when they're separating. I got you. That's it. Enough. The referees from afar, meaning a foot or 5 feet away, are like, that's it, boys, done, good, all good, everybody's good. And if something else happens, even if it's one while a player is on the ice, even if it's one kind of jackhammer, or a little rabbit punch, that is admissible, right, to the court for an extra misconduct. So not ending the fight in an appropriate manner, which always is kind of funny. I mean, the fight is a fight, but there's honor.
There is honor.
Speaking of the defensive numbers, let's quickly go over them, because we like to do here on Morning Brew. So Lauzon ends up only playing 13:57 due to his time off, but he had 3 hits in the game. Still played real well. Had the and had the assist to start the Ritchie goal. How about the play of Carlo and Miller? First of all, Brandon Carlo, who was a beast the last shift. We'll talk about that in a moment. Played 20:33, had 5:38 on the shorthanded. The penalty kill. Kevin Miller, 5:58, just over 20 minutes total as well. Charlie McAvoy out on the ice. I thought his game was good. I don't know about it wasn't dominant, but it was maybe a harder game to be in. But look, Charlie is still Charlie. He had 3 penalties, 6 minutes, so he was off, and he still played 21:10. He had 5 block shots in the game. I thought his stick was very good in the game. Let's go to that last shift. Killing a penalty. Charlie in the box. And here you go. You end up getting Kevin Miller and Carlo out there. The Bergeron wins the faceoff. Okay. Big deal, right? Happens all the time. But then Carlo, Miller protecting the puck along the wall. We talked in the post game. You talked about how that is a set type of play. Eat as many seconds as possible. Just don't throw it away because you're down 2 men, 6 on 4. Carlo with a great job right there. Excellent verbal and nonverbal communication, I thought, by everybody on the ice.
Yeah, all 3. Patrice is off just a little bit, as kind of like that referee in the fight. He's off giving directions as well to Carlo, and Carlo's just taking slashes, taking punches, taking the cross checks in the back, and just eating the puck along the boards. Miller's boxing out. He's not really going for the puck. His stick's close to the puck if it pops out, but he's trying to just get body protection on his backside, almost posting up, an NBA player posting up, keeping guys away from Carlo so they can't get leverage on Carlo, get in tight, and push him off the puck. And at no point, they recognize if they throw it, they've got 3 guys in the corner. There's a 3-on-1 somewhere else around the ice.
Right.
There's 3, because it's a 6-on-4. There's 3-on-1 in front of the net. So you have to hold it. And they did such a good job just going up and down behind the net, which is even a better position because if it's on the sidewall, it chips out. Then the 3-on-1's coming in pretty quickly. From the backside, you've got point men. The puck's pretty far away from them. So all you don't want to do is just rim it slowly around the boards. And they did a wonderful job. And Miller and Carlo basically out there for half of the penalty kill the
Mm-hmm.
entire game. They took 6 penalties, 12 minutes. Those guys did a cracking job, just a wonderful job, keeping everything on the outside, good sticks, and that last shift, I believe, is indicative of what they did all night long.
Yeah, and there's the whole group. Zaborla, that was good. Clifton comes in on his offside again for Grizzly. They got to rest Grizzly now for a while.
Yeah,
They have to.
yeah, he's got
Have
to
to
take a
get
break.
Grizzy healthy,
Yeah.
fully healthy. I know
And
you
they have the
keep
luxury of that now. 10-1 and 2. They can take,
and
they're
you're right.
not pressing, right?
And they have the game that's tonight on the
Yeah.
island, and then they're off until Thursday again. So
Yeah.
they're not
What,
going to. Um,
2 games in 2 weeks, basically, right? I think Thursday, Sunday, and then not till
well,
Thursday again.
right. They're supposed to have Sunday. Let's
Yeah.
let's and they're supposed to have Thursday. We don't even know if the Devils are going to be ready for Thursday. So let's
True.
just we worry about
One day at a time.
one day at a time. All right, a couple of other things as we wrap this up for the Bruins. They still do well in the face-off circle. I love that. It just gives. I know some people are like, well, face-offs aren't as important. I think this year, we're really seeing the importance of it. Puck possession galore for the Bruins. It's been a dominant factor for them. Bergeron just over 50% in this game. Charlie Coyle at 75%, 6 of 8. I like seeing that because he had been struggling in the face-off circle. I thought DeBrusk had a really good game the other night, and he was good again. He only had one shot on goal. Didn't play as much. Doesn't kill penalties, so he doesn't play as much. But okay, I'm good with that. Will we see any lineup changes going into the island tonight? I'm not sure. It's hard to change a winning lineup. Maybe one change.
We haven't seen a lot of the coaching staff in game lineup switches. Tonight could be one of those nights. If it starts off similar to last night, I could see them switching the second and third lines around. Maybe you move Bjork up and put Smith back with Coyle. They seem to have a better fit. We talked about a little, Smith's more of the puck comes to me off a forecheck and I shoot it on net rather than a Brett Hull finds space on the other side of the ice and Krejci sauces 30 feet away from me. I think that might fit better with Coyle on a consistent basis. Obviously, he can play with anyone in there. So maybe those second and third lines move around tonight if it doesn't go great. But I think they start off. And again, I get a kick out of how great Bruce Cassidy and the coaching staff do on those in-game just the way they have a feel for guys, and it usually works out the way they move guys around. So it wouldn't surprise me tonight. Feels like a game they might have to do that to create energy, to create some kind of a matchup discrepancy against a good, tough Islanders.
Yeah, an Islander team that really closes the neutral zone well. They play a system. It's like a 1-1-3 basically. I mean, you can argue 1-3-1, 1-1-3. They line up at the blue line. They transition the other way. They're not afraid to chip and chase and to wear you down. The Cizikas line will probably get a lot of matchup against the Bergeron line, is my guess. And then, by the way, the Cizikas line's played really well, very well.
And they're scoring goals. They're not. Last game they got 2 goals against the Rangers, or 2 games ago, I should say. They're chipping on offensively, not just pounding ground.
No, they're a good line. They're a line that like when the Bruins' fourth line is rolling, they're you have to play them in the right way, and you feel good playing them. And Tuukka back in net tonight, so good for the Bruins right there. The quick bus ride, about 40 minutes outside of Madison Square Garden. They head to the island, where I think they're very happy. They only have to spend about, not even 24, about 19 hours or so. Nothing against it. I live there. If you go 10 minutes away from the Coliseum, 15 minutes away, not even 10 minutes away, beautiful. That little area right there, there's nothing there. Get in, hunker down, have your pregame, play, and get the hell out of town. That's all I'm going to tell you in that area.
Get your 2 points and go.
Yes, giddy up and go. So the Bruins are just still, right now, rolling, one of the best teams in the NHL. That'll do it for this morning, Brew. We'll be back after the Bruins Saturday night game against the Islanders with another cup of coffee and a whole lot of talk and breakdown. Razor, good stuff. We will talk to you later.